Have you ever received a message that turned your world upside down? A cold, lifeless line of text that opened a door you never saw coming? I stood there, bathed in the warm golden glow of a rooftop restaurant, when a message lit up, not meant for me, but it shaped my future. I didn't mean to look. It was just a glance at Marcus's phone as he stepped away for a call. Let her finish the deal, then cut her loose. A text from the new CEO, sharp as a blade. I sat there, clutching my wine glass, heart frozen. 9 months of relentless work, weaving every detail of a $40 million AI deal. I crafted the terms, anticipated every risk, laid every brick for this historic contract. And now, they plan to let me finish, then erase me from the picture. Marcus returned, his polished smile as always, but his eyes betrayed him. He knew I'd seen it. I smiled back, slow and deliberate, like a chess piece placed on the board. Dinner continued, clinking glasses, clients' laughter echoing. But inside me, a spark ignited. Not anger, not revenge, a quiet awakening. I watched Marcus, every small gesture, the glance at his phone, the offbeat laugh. They thought I was a pawn, but I was ready to play my own game. Eric, Barnes Tech CEO, raised his glass. You've led this deal brilliantly, he said, his voice genuine. If you were in charge, we'd have signed last month. His praise was a cool breeze, but also a knife's edge. Marcus sat there, gripping his glass, his smile strained. I felt the truth behind his eyes. They needed me to close, but not to stay. Dinner ended, the lights still twinkling, but I saw clearly. I didn't belong here anymore. Back at my apartment, I stood by the window, the city blazing below, but its light felt cold, distant. I slipped off my coat, letting it fall, my heart heavy. Memories flooded in, 3 promotions that should have been mine. The Lockwell deal, $10 million, negotiated by me alone. The Xenotech project, built from nothing. And the last time, when I prepared everything to prove my worth, they called me too sharp, too independent. A woman who didn't need control was apparently a threat. I stood before the mirror asking, how much had I given, and what did I get back? The phone buzzed, shattering the silence. My mother's name lit up, her voice warm through the speaker. You okay, love? You sound exhausted. I smiled, though she couldn't see, keeping my voice light. I'm fine, Mom, just busy with work. But my lie didn't fool her. You're working too hard. Do they see your value? Her question pierced the wound I'd hidden. I stared at my reflection in the glass, eyes stinging. I'll be okay, I whispered, unsure if I was speaking to her or myself. A soft ping came from my laptop. An email from Ava, the only assistant who never underestimated me. No subject, just an attachment and a line. This didn't come from me. I clicked. A PDF opened. Q4 restructuring plans. My name was nowhere in leadership roles, but Marcus's name repeated from team lead to strategy head. My blood boiled, not with anger, but clarity. They didn't see me as a leader, just a tool, a bridge for them to cross. I closed the file, sat in the dark, and for the first time, I let myself feel. No hiding, no suppressing. Bitter, but I knew it wouldn't last. It started on an ordinary afternoon. Eric, Barnes Tech CEO, invited me for a private coffee. White brick walls, wooden tables, the soft clink of spoons. Eric sat down, sleeves rolled up, no pretense. Why are you still there? He asked, eyes piercing. I hesitated. What do you mean? He sipped his espresso, slow. I see how you work, the strategies, the risk models, all you, not Marcus. His words cut through my self-made fog. If you want to build something of your own, he said, voice low, we'll back you. I laughed, thinking it was a passing comment, but his eyes didn't waver. We rejected Marcus, he continued, for his sloppy mistakes. But you do it right. Eric's words stayed with me, a seed planted in silence, waiting to sprout. I told no one, kept it close. But each night, as the city quieted, I opened my laptop. I read about corporate law, tax structures, business licenses. Not a dream, but a blueprint. I wanted a clean start, untainted, free from their betrayal. I reached out to Alan, a sharp lawyer who left the firm over their half-baked ethics. Want something they can't touch? He asked, tapping his pen. I nodded. I want it to be mine, completely. He gave a short, icy smile. All right, let's begin. Alan and I sat in a small office, pale light filtering through blinds. He outlined the plan, each step precise like a symphony. I formed a company, Rivers and Row, named for my middle name and my grandmother's surname. Subtle, untraceable. A bank account opened, no logo, no staff, just a seed. I didn't rush, didn't let emotions drive. Everything had to be clean, no gaps for them to exploit. But I didn't expect Ava. She caught me in the server room, eyes suspicious. "You're not checking backup logs for fun, are you?" I laughed, dodging, but she stepped closer. "Whatever it is, I'm with you," she said, resolute. I hesitated, then handed her a small USB. "No names, no details, just my work, clean." She nodded, no questions. That night, Ava quietly saved everything I'd created, strategies, models, budgets. All mine, no trace of them. When Ava returned the USB, her eyes blazed. "You're building something bigger than they think they own." I gripped the USB, cold in my hand. This wasn't revenge, not rebellion. It was preparation, a plan I never thought I'd need. In my dim room, laptop glowing blue, the Barnes Tech contract loaded, DAW, 42 million, every line bearing my mark. Each clause, number, note, my sweat, my sleepless nights. I didn't need a team, didn't need ghostwriters. This was my work, and I knew it would soon be mine in a way they'd never expect. I clicked save, renaming the file, Rivers and Row. No old logo, no trace of them, just me and the future I'd write. Ava slipped into the meeting room, whispering urgently, "You haven't sent the contract, right?" I shook my head, heart quickening. "Why?" She glanced at the glass door, checking the hall. "I overheard HR. They're talking restructuring, and your name came up." I clenched my fists, voice steady. "You sure?" "Not fully, but it's a reliable source." I looked at my screen, the contract's still there, unsent. If I sent it now, they'd have their prize, and I'd be expendable. I closed the laptop, stood, a strange calm spreading. Not fear, but power. I had the client, the knowledge, and now, the time. "Thanks, Ava," I said, voice low. She nodded and vanished behind the door. I stood in the dim light, knowing the game had shifted. The next morning, I walked into the office as usual. Steel coffee mug in hand, a smile to the guard, the familiar elevator chime. But the air felt different, like a storm brewing quietly. The meeting room door was ajar, Marcus and two senior managers whispering. They fell silent as I passed. I sat at my desk, opened my laptop, but the login flashed red. "Access denied." I tried again, pulse rising. An email from HR popped up, no greeting, no signature. "Your employment at Syntech is terminated effective immediately." 5 lines, cold as a guillotine. My badge deactivated, email gone, calendar wiped. I sat, motionless, the fluorescent lights humming above. They didn't just fire me, they wanted to erase me. My phone buzzed, Ava's text frantic. "They cut you. I'm done too. I won't stand here smiling while they erase you." Before I could reply, another message from Sarah, an analyst I'd mentored. "Your project list is now under Marcus's name. They left no trace of you." The confirmation hit like a cold gust, sweeping away any lingering illusions. They didn't just push me out, they wanted to bury me. But on my desk, a small unmarked envelope waited. Inside, a black USB and Ava's handwritten note. "You'll need this. It's everything you built." My eyes blurred, not from pain, but from her loyalty. I gripped the USB like holding a torch in the dark. They took my office, but not me. I left the building, no backward glance. The morning breeze stung my face, waking me again. My apartment felt stiflingly silent. No laptop hum, no notifications, just me and my shadow on the wall. I opened the Barnes Tech contract, my copy $42 million, every word my own. My finger hovered over delete, hesitating. "Erase it, forget it, start over," a voice whispered. But then my phone rang. "Mom, you okay, love?" she asked, her voice a warm embrace. I wanted to say I'm fine, but the words caught. "I just need to get through tonight, Mom. Tomorrow will be better." She didn't push, just said, "You don't have to be strong, just be you." I broke, tears falling, washing away my restraint. But in the silence, I found a spark. An old email surfaced from Eric sent 2 months ago. "You made us believe our vision mattered," he wrote. "If you want to build something bigger, call me. We'll back you." His words reignited a fire I thought had died. I looked at the USB, at the photo of Mom and me on the shelf, smiling on graduation day. "You know your worth," I whispered, a self-spoken vow. I didn't delete the file. Instead, I renamed it RNR Signature Ready.pdf. Rivers and Row, my company. I closed the laptop, not to quit, but to begin. Tomorrow wasn't just another day. It was my first. Sunlight slipped through the blinds the next morning, guiding my path. At my kitchen table, black coffee steaming, the USB sat like a silent ally. The contract was ready, now bearing my mark. No old logo, just Rivers and Row LLC, Nicole Everett, CEO. I emailed Eric, one line, "Thanks for waiting. I'm ready." I hit send, and the air stilled, like awaiting a storm. 3 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Eric replied, "We're in. And yes, the investment still stands. You're doing this right. I smiled quietly. The $42 million wasn't theirs anymore. It was mine. An email from Eric's team followed. Please send banking details for invoicing. First payment arrives in 24 hours. I sat, hands trembling, not from fear, but from power returning. They fired me with a cold email, but now $42 million was flowing to me, the one they thought they'd erased. I texted Ava, no subject, just, "You saved more than you know." She replied instantly, "They're in chaos. Marcus hasn't left his office, but I'm laughing." I smiled, typing, "Give me a week. If you want to build something real, my door's open." I saved the contract in a new folder, Built on Trust. Victory didn't need fanfare. It lived in the quiet of a step well taken. At 9:04 the next morning, a headline dropped. Barnes Tech signs $42 million AI deal with Rivers and Rowe LLC. No mention of Syntech. The article showed Eric shaking hands with a woman, her face cropped, but I knew it was me. The caption read, "New firm led by former strategist seals quarter's biggest AI deal." Strategist, not director, not manager. But the message was clear. I did it. My phone buzzed, old colleagues, reporters, even Marcus calling 4 times. I didn't answer. His text read, "We need to talk, urgent." I forwarded the article to Alan, my lawyer, with a note. "Prep for noise. I'm not answering today." He replied with a thumbs up and let silence speak. Ava texted again, gleeful. Marcus smashed his laptop so hard it broke, they're panicking. Lindsay from PR was asking, "Who's Rivers and Rowe?" I smiled. No one knew except me and Alan. My company, a guarded secret, now exploded in the headlines. Ava added, "Marcus said on the phone, 'We lost leverage. It's out of our hands.'" His voice sounded defeated. For years, Marcus was untouchable, gliding through office politics. But today, the bridge I built carried me far while he watched. Every number, clause, detail in that contract, mine. I knew what clients needed, what lawyers wanted, what made them nod. Now that knowledge wasn't Syntech's. It was my power. At noon, another call. Syntech's internal line, Linda, their longtime PR head. Her voicemail faltered. "Nicole, I'm impressed. Can we talk?" "To clear things up." "Clear things?" I laughed softly. Everything was clear as day. I forwarded the voicemail to Ava, who shot back, "Linda's in crisis mode. Should we act like we never got your email?" "Pretend we've never met," I replied, then stepped outside. The afternoon breeze wasn't biting anymore. I passed a newsstand, people scrolling, reading my story. They didn't know my name, but I knew I was behind those words. I wasn't just reclaiming my breath. I was reclaiming my space. The next morning, my inbox pulsed like a heartbeat. Claire, Veltic Solutions procurement head, emailed, "Nicole, we want to move all accounts to Rivers and Rowe. Not for the brand, but for you." I read it twice, breath catching. Then Graham, CTO of a healthcare firm. "We always knew the magic wasn't Syntex. Let us know how to transition to your new company." Then Elena from Casteron Logistics, who once said I was the only one who truly listened. "Nicole, we stayed for you. Let's start the handover now." She added, "Hope Ava's there. She's sharp." I laughed, forwarding it to Ava. She replied, "Building a client wall yet? This email deserves a frame." Near noon, an email from Daniel, Barnes Tech CEO. Short, sharp, his style. "Congrats, Nicole. Let's discuss product development investment. Meet next week." My heart raced, not from fear, but awe. They didn't just sign. They wanted to invest in me, in Rivers and Rowe, a company with no history, only trust. I'd worked in shadows, executing for others' glory. Long flights, sleepless nights, boardrooms where my name was forgotten. But today, they remembered. They chose me, not the old logo, not Syntech. I stood by my new office window, looking down. No sign, no trophies, just a desk and a whiteboard full of ideas. But I felt it, the shift. Late afternoon, a knock on the glass wall. Ben, the co-working space manager, brought an envelope and a small box. The envelope held a card from Claire. We always knew who we were working with. Let's build something better. Inside the box, a pen engraved "Lead, don't follow." I traced the words, smiling. They denied me leadership titles, but now I didn't need them. I had my company, my contract, and a growing client list. Victory wasn't in medals. It was in trust, theirs, and more importantly, mine. The next morning, a thick letter arrived. Syntech letterhead, watermarked from legal, a lawsuit notice, alleging client interference and exclusivity breach. I slid it across to Alan. He raised an eyebrow, sipping espresso. "They're really doing this?" I asked, almost laughing. "Their style," he said dryly. "Not to win, but to scare you." He flipped to the last page, chuckling. Signed by Matthew, their new counsel, my former intern. I raised an eyebrow. Really? Really? I taught him everything, but not all I know. He folded the letter, tucking it back. I'll draft a response today. You won't see court. He smiled. They forgot you were a contractor, no non-compete clause. Their mistake, your advantage. I nodded, relief spreading. No need for retaliation, just truth. Alan sent Syntech's response that afternoon, short, cutting, like a honed blade. My client isn't intimidated by a company that failed to value her. I read the last line 3 times, letting it sink in. No shouting, no fighting. Truth and dignity spoke enough. I forwarded it to Ava, adding, they picked the wrong fight. She shot back, no, they picked the wrong person to betray. That night, I slept better than I had in weeks. Not because they backed off, but because I didn't need to shout to be heard. The law was on my side, and this time, so was the truth. Morning light flooded my new office, soft gold on wood floors. I stood before a framed picture, not a diploma, not a headline, just a line of text. Let her finish the deal, then cut her loose. The message meant to end me, now the cornerstone of my empire. I touched the frame, as I did each morning, a reminder. They thought they broke me, but they cleared my path. The door opened. Mom stepped in, coat draped over her arm, her smile proud, yet tired. She rarely came to the city, but today, she wanted to see it for herself. I hugged her, longer than usual, feeling her familiar warmth. Mom brought a bag of muffins, raspberry scent wafting. You love these, right? She asked, eyes twinkling. I laughed. You never forget. She sat by the window, scanning the room, bookshelf, plant, stacked files. Then she paused at the frame. She leaned in, read the text, her face hardening. They didn't fire you, she said, certain. They set you free. I swallowed, nodding. Yes, they did. She looked at me, eyes gleaming, and you took what they thought they stole. I didn't reply, just smiled because she'd spoken my heart. My phone buzzed, a tech edge alert. 5 major clients cut ties with Syntech. Rivers and Rowe, founded by ex-strategist Nicole Everett, now valued at triple market cap. I turned the screen to Mom. She raised an eyebrow. Triple? I nodded, barely believing it myself. And that's before the new product launch. She leaned back, eyes misty. You always colored outside the lines. I just didn't know you were drawing a new map. We sat in silence, not empty, but full. Outside, the city rushed on, ruthless as ever. But here, I had space to breathe, to build, to be. I looked at the frame one last time, the text that tried to erase me, but it failed. It became the first brick of